Hey there, it's Corey with Ascend Smarter Intervention, where we make research-based reading intervention easy. And today we wanted to talk with you about the 6 syllable types. So one of the important things about teaching reading and teaching spelling is giving students rules that they can follow, or buckets that they can start to put words into so that they can make sense of the sounds that each of these words are making. It's really about looking at the science of reading, the science of writing. Why do we do the things we do? We don't want students just simply memorizing spelling words, memorizing words for reading. It's really an ineffective strategy. So one of the best things that we can do is we can teach the 6 syllable types. This is really going to help us to understand from a phonetic perspective why vowels specifically are going to make the sounds that they make. So we know that vowels can be really one of the trickiest parts of reading and spelling because vowels make multiple sounds. Sometimes vowels come together and work with other vowels to make new sounds, and sometimes vowels can get lazy and produce what we call a schwa sound, where they're really not making their own sound at all. And so one of the things that we do is we want to teach students about the 6 different syllable types so that we can start to explain when do vowels make long sounds, when do vowels make short sounds, when might vowels make lazy sounds, and when are they going to come together with other vowels to make new sounds. So when we're teaching syllable types, we always follow the same order. And when we're following an order, it's called a scope and sequence, or we're following a systematic progression of the syllable types. So we always start with closed. So we're going to go ahead and write closed. And closed syllables are when we have one vowel that's followed by a consonant. So we have one vowel that's followed by a consonant. And what we'll say is that that vowel is closed in, it's blocked in by the consonant. Sometimes we'll even use something like a door so that they can see that door is closed, the vowel is stuck, it makes its short sound. Okay, so we have at. We can also start putting other consonants on the front side and get words like cat, bat, mat. But what's important for closed syllables is that it's closed in at the end. So what we'll typically do is we'll show students what that looks like. We'll give them an opportunity first to see it and recognize closed syllables. And then we'll have them read closed syllables. And then we will have them generate and make their own closed syllables. And then we'll have them spell closed syllables. So that's typically going to be the progression that we work through for every single syllable type. So that's our first syllable type, closed. We have some examples in the blog that's linked here as well of some fun games and activities that you can do with these syllable types as well. The next syllable type has lots of names. So it might be known as vowel consonant E, which we've shortened to VCE. Some people call it magic E, silent E. It has all kinds of different names. It really doesn't matter what you call it, but we do need to recognize that that is one of our syllable types. Vowel consonant E, silent E, magic E are going to make our vowel sounds long. So if we take this same example that we had here, we pull this down, we have a closed syllable right now. We have at. What happens is as soon as we add an E to the end, this guy right here, we're going to create a long vowel sound. So we've got a long vowel sound. This E is going to jump over and make that A long. That is a long vowel sound. The E is silent, but it has to be there to give the A the power to say its name. So that's our second syllable type. So again, we're going to start by showing students, having students find or recognize words that follow the vowel consonant E pattern. Then we're going to have them read them, create them, and then spell them. So that's, again, going to be that progression that we follow for every single syllable type. Then the next one that we teach is open. So the great thing about this is that it's just the opposite of closed. So we've got closed and open. So we take these same letters again. Before we had a closed syllable. So this is what it looks like when it's closed. We have a vowel that's closed in by a consonant. What happens is if we have this going in the other direction, if we have a vowel that's left open, it's free, then what's going to happen is it's going to feel free to run away and say its long sound. And so in this case, this is a nonsense word, but we would get te, a. This vowel's open, it's free, it's going to shout its name. We tell our students that vowels love to say their name whenever they get the opportunity. They prefer to say name, and so they're always working to be able to do that. So here, because this is open, we are going to allow that to say its name. The reason this is important, we don't have a open syllable single syllable words, but the reason that this is important is because we can start adding new syllables on back ends, and we'll talk about this here in just a second. This is going to be L-E, so where'd that E go? Right there. What happens is as we get multiple syllables, they're going to combine together with other syllable types. Here we've got table. So again, that open syllable is just left free and open to say its name. The next syllable type that we talk about is R-controlled or bossy R, depending on the age of our students. We'll use different terminology. So R is the next type of syllable. What we do with this one is talk about R and how R is a little bit of a bossy friend. We talk about what's bossy. Do you know what bossy means? Do you have any friends maybe that are a little bossy, or do you know anybody that's a little bit bossy? And if you're in a class, be careful of this. But have one, it's a little bit easier or a small group. Actually, what we have is anytime that we have an R that's immediately following any of our vowel sounds, that is going to change the sound of the vowel. So in this case, the vowel is not going to make a long or a short sound, but rather it's going to be controlled by the R. So here we have R, or, So these are common phonics patterns that fall in the R-controlled syllable type. That R is bossing the vowel around. It's not allowing the vowel say its long or its short sound. Next syllable type that we have is vowel teams. So teams are when we get two vowels working together to make a new sound. We have two types of vowel teams. There are vowel digraphs and vowel diphthongs. A digraph is when you have two vowels working together to make one basically long vowel sound. So for example, this is A. Two vowels are working together to create that long vowel sound. Sometimes we might get patterns that are more of what we would call a sliding sound or a diphthong. This isn't a long vowel sound at all or a short vowel sound. Instead, it's oi. So it's kind of like one sound sliding right into another, and that would be called a diphthong. For us, when we teach vowel teams, we just tell students we have two different types, digraphs, diphthongs. But we try not to get stuck in the terminology, because sometimes the terminology itself can be confusing to students, and it's not really that important that they know what that is. So that's vowel team syllable. The last syllable type that we talk about, a little bit of another one that's kind of tricky. So it's going to be called stable final syllables. And one of the most common ones that we see in these stable final syllables is called consonant LE. So consonant LE is lovingly known as CLE, consonant LE, and that's going to be like that word that I showed us before. So the word table. And consonant LE syllables always come in multisyllabic words. So that's why we get last, because we want to make sure that students really understand that there's really one syllable in a word. But we've got that open syllable A, and in this case, the word table has two syllables. Table. Every syllable needs at least one vowel. So then a syllable is a word or part of a word with one vowel sound, but sometimes the vowel sound is actually silent, and we just need the vowel to be able to hold the place for that second syllable. If we didn't have an E, this would say table, because it would be a closed syllable. And so in order to get table, two syllables, we need to be able to spread those apart, which means that we need an E to go ahead and support that as a syllable. And so this is one of the types of stable syllables that can be so common. Now some of the less known, because sometimes people might chunk these in affixes or suffixes. But some other stable final syllables might be things like shun or chur or sh. So these might be examples of other stable final syllables that all come as a group at the end that we don't break apart. So that's it. That's how we run through the 6 syllable types. Obviously, a lot of instruction goes into this. What we do is we map in our phonogram or our phonics patterns, and we group them as part of these 6 syllable types to keep it really meaningful for students, so that when we're going through those different sound patterns, those phonics patterns, we're making sure that they understand, okay, is this a closed pattern? Is this a VC pattern? Open, R-controlled, vowel team, or stable final pattern. So that's it. We have lots of games and activities that we use. I'll link those in just in case you're interested in those. And if you have any questions, let us know.